Gaming at its core covers a wide variety of subjects. We've got board games, video games, live-action games, tabletop games, make-believe games, but in this gaming circle, there's one type of game we seldom talk about. And when we do, it's rarely in good light. I mean, it has some good games, but it could never give birth to a true gamer, a real gamer, or even a proper gamer. But if you don't know already, we're talking about mobile games, and this is the Sunovageek Podcast!
Son of a geek!
Podcast.
I'm your host, Spencer, and joining me this fine morning evening are my glorious co-hosts. One of them is a fine and upstanding citizen, and the other botched his recording, so we had to record another podcast. It's Tol and Zeo. How's it going,
Tol,
guys?
how could you?
Oh, come on. I'm the consummate professional
Could
here.
you?
Oh, I've got you guys all the way on the far monitor. I'm going to bring you over here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now we can look at each other as if we're sitting across from one another.
And stare
Yeah.
at the person who is to blame with disdain.
Tol.
Zeo.
I'm so
That's okay.
sorry,
It sounds
everybody.
like-
It was a
it
good
sounds like you
podcast,
figured out
and
what
I
it was.
screwed it up, and I feel so bad about it.
And it had
well,
the
by the
worst,
sounds of it,
worst best intro ever, and it's botched.
yeah, it's okay. In some ways, I'm kind of glad because I was debating on re-recording the intro.
Well, for what it's worth, I
Although-
mean, Spen won't edit it in so you guys can hear it, so you didn't miss anything.
No, I'm not going to edit it in.
That's what I said.
I think I pushed things. I pushed things kind of far. I've done it a few times before, but
You pushed
Not
the
quite like
envelope
that.
right off the table.
yeah, that's
But-
okay though.
I do have an announcement, Spen, that
Uh-oh,
some
what's
people
that?
might be excited. We finally have merch, an official website to buy merch.
What?
Yes.
What kind of things can I buy off of this
I'll
website?
tell you what you can buy,
Well,
Spen.
before we get too far into that, I just want to pull some attention over to the YouTubes, because if you're joining us there, you might be looking at the background and thinking to yourself,
Wow.
hot diggity dog, that's a nice background. Well, thank you, Tol, for the awesome image. It's
You're
really
welcome, and
sweet.
thank you for actually remembering to mention it at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, I believe that's actually your character from No Man's Sky.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, he looks pretty sweet. But if you guys here listening have some awesome screenshots or don't have one yet but will soon, please send them our way. We would love to feature your pictures here in the background. Doesn't have to be from No Man's Sky, it could be from any game, and when we inevitably throw it up there, because we will, we would love to give you a shout out and thanks for it. So plus, think of it as upside, you get a little bit of promotion on the side. Plus, on top of that, a plus, Tol will give you $5.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
And you'll be a part of the Toes Club.
Yes.
That last
shout
one
out
perhaps,
to
but I ain't paying a dime.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Kohajin, currently the benevolent leader of the Toad Club at $35. Or should we should call it 7 sets of 5. Currently at 7 sets of 5. He's our leader, right? That's 35? Yeah,
That is
35 is
an
fine.
7 sets of
unnecessary
5.
mouthful spin, and that's par for the course for you, actually.
Well, thank
Okay,
you.
Tol.
So sorry, Zeo, you're going to talk about something before I so rudely interrupted
Yes,
you.
we have merch.
But
Official
nothing for
already know
Son of
about
the
that.
Geek.
game merch. Nothing for Son of the Geek yet. I have to make
Well,
it
we've
still.
been thinking about it.
But
We've been
we
thinking.
do have a Next to Nothing t-shirt. We have a Cacness t-shirt. We have a game t-shirt. And we have the NTN character logo t-shirt. If you're wondering what the NTN character logo t-shirt is, it's NTN with Tom, Preck, and Ness inside of it. It looks awesome. We also have a Cacness pillow. A Cacness
best
phone
pillow.
case. And we have the game logo mugs and stickers.
Oh man, we should have a bubble, a text bubble where where Cactus volunteers as tribute. That was one of my favorite ones he made, was Cactus Everdeen.
Cacness Everdeen.
That's a good one. That's great
Nah,
fun.
Zeo made that one a while ago. That
Fan
one was
art,
pretty good.
go!
Woo!
Which one? I like that. It's gonna be, I imagine where Preck is like standing up somewhere with Ness, and what the heck? Tom can be there too. We'll let Tom be there too, because Tom's a special one for us as well. He's probably the funniest guy on there. But
Yeah.
they're standing up there, they're looking out, and the reason why Tom's kind of there, he doesn't eat cactuses, but I imagine they're looking at trying to decide what cactus they're gonna eat, and that's the one cactus volunteers as tribute.
Cacness Evergreen.
Yeah. Oh, it's Evergreen, not
Everdeen.
Neverdeen.
It's evergreen. It's Ness Everdeen.
You're thinking the character Everdeen. He's saying evergreen because it's a plant.
Yeah, 'cause that's the
okay,
parody.
that's way better when it's evergreen. That's way cooler. Also, it took me way too long to describe the picture that I was imagining, so I apologize for that.
No, it's okay.
I dragged
We know
it
you don't
on
mean it.
and on.
And this is also
And
a
on.
thing. If you happen to have a t-shirt ideas,
on.
we do have an artist who's making t-shirts. Throw them at us. We might make them and sell them in our store.
Yeah! And we're gonna take all your money.
Not really.
But really.
No, we're not taking any money if it's a donation, you know?
But we're still gonna take all your money.
Oh, we also have a
So,
Patreon if you want to support us.
Oh yeah, please
That
send us
would be
all
awesome.
your money.
We totally forget to mention that all the time.
Yeah,
You sound so
we
greedy.
totally forget to do it. Right, so mobile games. We've all actually, well, believe it or not, the topic for this podcast came up last podcast, but you wouldn't know because Zeo botched his recording for it.
Thanks,
So we're just
Zeo.
going into it anyways.
Thanks,
okay.
Tol.
Zeo felt really bad about it, so
He's
we don't want to
jealous
give him
that he
too
can't
hard of a
mask my
time.
base.
Yeah, I felt
But,
really bad.
Why do PC and console gamers think mobile gamers aren't gamers? That's the real question here.
That is the question. I mean,
I've got an answer for it.
All mobile game, PC and console gamers think mobile gamers are just garbage gamers?
Not all of them, but I think it's generally felt that way.
Yeah.
Where you go to talk to most people. And I can tell you right now in one word. Elitism. And that pretty much sums it up. Thanks for joining us for this week's podcast. It's been a great time. That's really all it
since
is, in my
Spen's
opinion.
leaving, Zeo, what do
Really?
you think?
Well, so Spen called me an elitist in the last one because I am one of the people who tend to categorize mobile gaming as not real gaming.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
Don't
'cause-
downplay it. We both called you elitist.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine, you both did. But I have reasons. Like, it's not mobile gaming in its entirety. I don't think that gaming on in a portable fashion is bad. So, like, you can download Final Fantasy VII. You can get Pokemon emulators.
Oh, I
You
was
can
using my own
You can
reasons
get
against me.
actual games on your phone, and I don't consider that mobile gaming. Now, the term I'm using mobile gaming, but I guess I should be more specific with, like the just nonsense games to use to pass by time kind of game. Like, it's hard to consider those as structured games.
Now,
I
what
would
do you
say.
mean
Game doesn't have to be-
nonsense game?
So, like, the reason, the best thing I can think of would be like Candy Crush.
All right, explain.
So, like, people who just play those games, I don't consider gamers. Those are just
Really?
time wasters. It's like a crossword puzzle kind of thing.
But
And
what if that's the kind of thing that they love doing, and that's the game they're super passionate about, and they love spending all their time playing it?
I mean, that I would just call them a Candy Crush enthusiast. I don't know if
If
I'd call
that's
them a
what they
gamer
like to
still.
do, then that's what they like to do. But I don't
Yeah,
think
I
that's
mean,
gaming
that's
either.
fine for them to like it, but I wouldn't consider that gaming. It's like
it's a game.
Well, then
They're playing
if you go
a
to
video
a
game.
casino, are all the old people gamers because they pull a lever and it makes bright colors and they love to
Well,
spend all their
there's
time
a
and money
difference
there?
between a slot machine and one where it's like electronic screens, where it's a video.
Slot
game.
machines are electronic screens nowadays.
Are they
with
now?
Video.
Yes.
Yes.
The only
And
slot machines I know
graphics.
are from movies. So
Those are the old school ones. While those do exist, a lot of them are pretty modernized. They have pop-up and characters, and they give you little videos in between, and
And
make
they
a
have
bunch of
digital
noises
wallets
and-
with their own special currency that you can't redeem for anything outside of the game.
see, but you could consider them gamers because it's all a game. That's all really gambling is.
Is it a game? Is it?
A game with an addiction kind of built into it, but
Well, see, a game,
See,
in
I
my
wouldn't
experience,
consider
is
that a
something that has
game.
a set structure and an end goal. So, I mean, stuff like Candy Crush, it has a set structure, and it has the end goal of complete the level, and then it has hundreds of levels with varying levels
Thousands.
of difficulty. Thousands, thank you. But most of them are designed so you cannot get through it without spending money to buy the boosts that they have, because they're damn near impossible to unlock in standard gameplay.
I would
So
disagree with that.
things that leech your wallet, to me, aren't games. They're tools.
So when you take like a multiplayer survival game like Rust, that one doesn't really have an end game to it. There's no end. The end is your survival, but you don't. It never really ends because you're still surviving.
I mean, I wouldn't say that that's really much of a game. It might be a fun experience, but it's not a game.
So for you, a game has to have an ending to it, like some sort of concrete goal that you can achieve at the end to finish it.
Not necessarily an ending, but yes, a goal.
What about Battlefield 4?
Battlefield?
Yeah. Would you
What's
consider
Battlefield?
that a game?
That's a shooter? Or you go in with an arena matched up against other people with the ultimate goal of victory, being the last man standing. That to me sounds like a game. It's not my kind of game, but it's a game.
But that isn't the end game. I mean, Rust wouldn't
Spoiler
be
alert.
personal.
Spoiler alert for Endgame.
For Rust, wouldn't you say the personal goal is self-decided? I mean, you can build a castle, or you can go around murdering people.
And that's up to the person running. That's up to the person playing.
Couldn't you argue then that it's up to the person playing the mobile game to decide what the end goal for them is?
Well, all I know is most of the time games designed specifically for mobile platforms tend to have the end game of, I'm tired of this, let's move on to the next thing.
Which would be the same thing for Rust.
Yeah.
Or other kind of survival.
And that's why I say
different games
that's
like that.
not a game in the classical sense. Classical sense of a game, even back to board games, like you said in the intro, is you have a set of rules, you have an objective, and whoever completes the objective wins. There is a path to victory. There is a path to victory in Minecraft. You beat the Ender Dragon, you win.
There are credits, I believe, after that. There's even story. Go figure. See, I kind of look at when someone says like to me or asks me what a game is, I kind of think of one where it's some sort of it's something that is it's like something you play, and it's just decided that you play it whether it's through skill, strength, or luck. I think that's all that's required for something to be considered a game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that almost all mobile games have that in there where you need either some sort of skill, or you need some sort of luck, or you need some sort of strength to get through it. Strength obviously doesn't work out so well in video games, minus like some of the VR ones, I guess you could say. But
I find the opposite to be true. Most games I find on the mobile platform, you need no skill and no luck to progress for the first half hour. They just hold your hand all the way through it. And beyond that, you have to have the patience of a saint or a deep wallet in order to progress at all.
But patience is also considered a skill.
Those are just pay-to-win games, though, Tol. I mean, there was a game that
that's damn near every.
I don't want to be on Spen's side of this argument because I don't like mobile gaming either. However, Angry Birds doesn't have that.
That's true. Angry Birds
is all skill.
Angry Birds is skill-based. Angry Birds I would consider
and luck.
An actual game, but Candy Crush not so much.
So why wouldn't Candy Crush be considered a game then? Besides the end, 'cause, I mean, technically there's an end to Candy Crush, isn't there? Like eventually you'll run out of levels to do.
I don't consider Candy Crush a game because it is at its worst, it is a game of absolute luck. There's no set patterns. There's no set rationale of how things are put together in obviously not all the levels, but a good portion of them. So when you have to rely on luck in order to progress, and that is exclusively the feature that lets you progress, I don't think that's any kind of game.
But I think that could still be considered a game because
gambling.
You understand exactly. But gambling is still a game. It's a game you play with yourself. It's a game you play with other stuff that's going on.
Gambling's not a game. Gambling is a risk.
See, but is it though?
Yeah.
There's still luck involved in that risk. You're lucky if you get what you're looking for. That's true, but to win, it's pretty lucky, wouldn't you say? When you when you hit the jackpot, it's pretty lucky.
You know, you're the only one here who said that luck is takes a central role in what a game is. I don't agree with that.
I think it definitely can.
Well, I agree with Spen. Luck is a central role in a lot of video games. And games
Like if you're playing Final Fantasy,
you can't
crit,
go ahead,
like your crit chance, that's a form of luck.
I mean, sure, luck can influence your ability to progress, but normally that would work against you or a little bit for you. It's not something that is a barrier to your progression.
Monopoly.
I mean, there's a lot of games that use luck as a mechanic, but there are other games that luck is the sole driving factor of the game.
Monopoly. Pretty driving
Monopolies can be considered like a mix between luck and skill because you can play things to your advantage with options. But
it's a game.
It is a game, but it's a terrible game. It is a game that rips families apart.
So my argument wasn't so much if mobile gaming is valid as a game or not. It's just I wouldn't consider anybody who is strictly on a mobile gaming to be any form of a real gamer per se, because it's
but then what is a real gamer?
Okay, so
are we going back to the hardcore and casuals argument? I say back. You guys never heard it. Thanks, Zeo.
That is gonna be part of it, but I mean, in the sense of like, as gamers, you have a sense of community, and with mobile gaming, I feel like that's a little harder to achieve.
Because a lot of games these days have a social tab in it. Matter of fact, you can't download most games these days without being overrun with people chatting and
right. And I understand that, but I mean, like, there's still not a social community. I mean, there are some games where you can interact, like Clash of Clans, right? Like I can attack Spen, Spen can attack me, right? That's how Clash of Clans works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, but like, I mean, in the sense of community to where like we're never gonna have a similar experience to really kind of share, I suppose, in that type of scenario. Like with Candy Crush, I guess you can say, oh, I got past level 6,942.
Like, that's neat. How is it different from level 7? Oh, they had more boosts.
But
I mean, in those... Okay, sorry, continue, Zeo, before I...
It's really hard to establish, but like my point of view of mobile gaming comes mostly from just working with cell phones as a whole. So I don't view, like, you can definitely have actual video games on a mobile device, and I don't consider that the issue. It's the mobile gaming market, I would say. And I play some mobile games. I mean, I'm not gonna knock all of them, but the majority of them is what Tol is trying to describe, where they are pay to win. And it's hard to view those types of games as an actual game because they're used more as time wasters and not investments as hobbies or something you can feel accomplished doing.
Yes,
maybe for you, but there's a lot of people that find the like I'll say right now, like I don't really play mobile games. The closest thing I do is play games on my Switch, so I don't normally pick up those kinds of games. But I still, so if I'm not just fighting this for the sake of me trying to defend my mobile gaming honor and heritage, but because I don't really play them. But I believe that mobile people who just play solely mobile games can be true gamers. And so going quickly back to what you're saying there, Zeo, it's I don't know, it's
well, see, there are games designed exclusively for mobile platforms, but those aren't necessarily mobile games. There are Final Fantasy games designed specifically for phones, and you can't find them on any traditional console. But they still have, like I was saying, they have a starting objective that you're supposed to pursue throughout the game. And yes, they still have luck, and they still have all those other burdens that I don't like in the way of them. But in the end, there is a set goal. There is a path to victory, or an objective, or some sense of accomplishment as you progress through it. And it's not just collecting the next gotcha.
Okay.
But that's a different genre.
Tol gave me
that's a different genre than mobile
games. But I'll let you go, Spen. I just wanted to let you know that I kind of thought of something to explain.
Okay, well, no, I'd like to hear what you have to say.
Okay, so we've got the deciding factor of games has a set of skill and a set of luck put into them that makes them a video game. And I think why people look down on mobile gamers and why it's easily categorized to not look at them as true gamers is because most games on consoles or PC require more skill than luck. However, in the mobile market, in the mobile gaming community, it is primarily luck with a little skill to be able to advance in those games. And
I will agree with you on that.
There is less accomplishments really happening. So when someone's like, oh, I'm so proud that I beat Candy Crush level 6,904, the person who just got done playing Dark Souls and Platinum and got all the trophies feels like, well, that's dumb.
That's cute.
I just put all this time and effort into accomplishing this goal.
See, and that's where I think it's difficult to say that they're not actual games, because now this is taking what someone else considers an accomplishment and comparing it to another person's accomplishment. I think, like, you bring up some really valid points, but I think bringing up that it would be the same as someone playing, if let's say Dark Souls had an easy mode and then it had its normal mode, it'd be the same thing as someone saying, oh, you're not a true gamer because you play Dark Souls on easy. You didn't get the full experience that I did with this game.
Right. And I can understand that.
That's a good point.
I'm just trying to rationalize why it's looked down on, because I think that would be a good,
that really makes a lot of sense to me. More luck than skill, I think, is the main dividing factor.
Yeah, I think that's, and what you guys are saying is totally fair. And I'm not saying you guys have to say that that you guys don't have to believe that mobile games are like, you can, like, the mobile games are equivalent to real gamers, because everybody's got a different opinion on what it is. Like, so someone who just posts short stories on a blog may consider himself a real writer, but someone who publishes actual novels and series that get sent out to millions of people may not consider the person who writes little short stories on their blogs a true writer, because they don't go through the same kind of...
Just because
or they might consider them a writer,
though,
doesn't think of them as a hobbyist.
A real writer. Yeah, you could be a hobbyist, so maybe they could be mobile game enthusiasts, but not actual gamers, because they don't go through the trials and tribulations real gamers have gone through.
But do you have to go through the trials and tribulations, though, to be a real gamer? To say, what if your true passion is playing games like Candy Crush or Clash of Clans
or PewDiePie's YouTube Simulator?
Or PewDiePie's YouTube Simulator. What if you're a die-hard for those? Like, every chance you get, you're picking up that game and you're playing it because you love it.
A die-hard for that and not really a gamer? I mean, at the same time, I want to call myself a professional YouTuber, but I don't make money doing it. I can call myself a professional YouTuber all the time, but do my classifications and what I'm doing right now make me that? No.
But what's tough, though, is for that to be considered a professional, don't you actually have to make money off of it? So there's like a set defining thing that makes you a professional. Well, but what makes this tough is there's no set defined, like a real gamer or a true gamer. I don't even know if that's a real thing, or if it's even fair to use those terms.
That is a fair point that kind of stymies my argument, and here we are at the half-hour mark of the podcast.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm with you, actually. Like, I still have my views of mobile gaming, but on your side of the arguments, Ben, I'm more on your side with that. Now, the reason why it seems like I am
an elitist?
My experiences is I was a department manager of a cell phone department for Walmart, and I activated many phones, and I helped people get rid of viruses, and I spent a lot of time on mobile devices, and 90% of viruses and problems that cause phones came from mobile games.
Okay.
A lot of them, specifically Candy Crush. And I personally don't trust anything ever made by King, the company that makes Candy Crush and a lot of the Facebook games and such, that really started the whole trend of pay to win or wait 5 minutes and you can get a token to play again.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of gives me my elitist view. So when people say, oh, I love mobile games, my first initial thought is always, oh, those garbage games that ruin everybody's lives and then I have to fix their phones. And my mom gets sucked into it all the time too. So literally she comes to me every other month. Hey, my phone's broken. What'd you do? I downloaded this game. Mom. But I mean, there are a couple games that I play. Like I play this game called Crowd City where you like swallow other people up and you grow like this large
Oh, that's
mob,
awesome.
and
I've
you
seen
just
ads
get
for that
bigger
one, but I've
and
never
bigger
tried
and
it yet.
bigger. And then I also play this one like strategy game with other zombies where you have to like defend your little area as zombies are coming to get you. So it's like a tower defense.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
There are actual valid fun little games in there. I just think mobile gaming is a asset to being a true gamer, but I wouldn't say if you only play mobile games you would be a true gamer.
Well,
yeah, that makes sense.
What's kind of tough for this is I would say that most people who play games on mobile are considered casual gamers. They just play it they don't play it hardcore.
Right.
It's not their only focus. It's not the only thing they go for. It's just something like what you guys have said is just something that generally passes the time. But I don't think, but I guarantee that there are some people out there that take it to the hardcore step, like where they play it tons and tons. So I don't think it's fair to say that you can't be a hardcore gamer on mobile just because it's a mobile game.
But
Like you can it's like someone can casually play RTSs. They pick it up here and there and play it from time to time, but they can go hardcore on first-person shooters. And just because it's a different genre, it doesn't make them not a hardcore gamer. It just means they've got their one type of genre that they're hardcore with, and they've got their other type that they just casually go and play.
Mm-hmm. But
So
to kind of throw a little wrench there, my mother
yeah.
is a hardcore Candy Crush enthusiast.
Mhm.
When I say levels,
I really like how you throw enthusiast.
because I don't consider her a gamer, and neither does she, because she only plays Candy Crush. When I say level 6,000 something, that's literally where my mother is at.
Okay.
I throw the number 6,000 out there because she's literally there. She's been playing it for years. And she'll tell me, hey, it took me like 20 days to beat this level. I'm like, oh my God, Mom, why? She's like, well, you just got to wait for the right moment to actually win. I'm like, so it's just waiting for the luck to happen? She's like, yeah, pretty much. I'm like, oh, okay. But it's just...
That's awesome.
I don't consider her a gamer. She doesn't consider herself a gamer either. And she just likes Candy Crush.
I wonder, part of me that wonders with this, sorry, Tol, to jump in when you were about to say something, but I wonder if her not considering herself a hardcore gamer is because of the stigmatism that comes with labeling someone as a gamer.
Not hardcore
and
gamer,
for
just a
her
gamer,
kind of
period.
Stigmatism?
Yeah, but like for her,
this causes eye problems?
Yeah, or whatever the word is. Stigmatism. The stigma. There we go. The stigma of being a gamer, where that a lot of people from her generation and even from some of our generations as well, that just there's a stigma that comes with being a gamer, and if you just play the one game, maybe you don't really consider yourself a gamer just because of the stigma behind it. I don't know. It's like if once you call yourself a gamer, it's like it feels there's a commitment that goes with it. My mother was always
very supportive of my video games. She got me my first Sega, and she got me the Sega channel. She would sit down and watch me play some games once in a while, and I played a couple of games with her once in a while. I don't think she had anything against it. I mean, she very well knows what I do with YouTube and that I play games to try to entertain and hopefully one day make money doing.
Yeah.
So,
excuse me.
I don't think she necessarily has a stigma attached to it. It just, she knows that the things that I've gone through as a gamer and what I put myself through, how much I love gaming, that she doesn't compare herself to me in any facet because of that.
You just reminded me of a quote that I think will help me make my point a little bit better. Something I heard. I don't remember who said it originally, but one of them, the quote is, doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting to somehow get a different result is a definition of insanity. And to me, that's what I see with games like Candy Crush or games that rely most heavily on luck. You do the exact same thing for days and days and days, hoping to get that result, but you can't really do anything to influence it. You're just waiting for something different to happen. And that's baffling to me that people have the patience for that. I don't see how that's fun. How can that...
Off the same note, though, Tol, we would be considered insanity, because who puts themselves through so much torment to beat a level if we can't beat it? We do.
But we're not doing the same thing. We're trying to do it differently. We're trying to do it better.
We have done multiple Fortnite game nights that have not been published where we were doing the same thing over and over and over again and not really getting any different results.
And in one of those, I dropped out before you two did. So who's the crazy guys?
Yeah, and I won.
No, you got zapped by the border first.
But the point
Oh, no, that's right. We couldn't win.
That example is kind of hard because it applies to us as well. Like, as gamers, like, I personally take offense to that just because I played Bloodborne and I fought one boss for 2 days.
Yeah, he ruined a dinner with his mom because of it.
That's very true. To beat that boss, like, I'm the definition of insanity because of my dedication to gaming.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's a bit of a difference because you can overcome what you were fighting with skill. It's not just luck. It's when luck is the barrier that I have issue.
I don't think luck, is a barrier. I mean, yeah, you're waiting for luck to happen, but as much as I would hate to say this, Candy Crush has a little skill to it. There's definitely more luck involved, but there is some skill. And knowing, even though you got your lucky chance to win in that time, you still have to have the skill to beat the level.
I would also argue that patience is a skill. It's something that you learn and you can develop over time. Patience isn't something that just comes naturally.
Agreed.
Right.
So if someone has the patience to keep sitting there or doing something over and over and over again the same way or whatever it is for 20 days to beat a level, then I look at that as kind of like, it's not something that I would be wanting or willing to do. I like Tol's quote, I would consider that insanity. But at the same time, that's to have the patience to go through that and try and beat it for 20 levels. Like, that shows patience, it shows dedication, it shows a level of something that you wouldn't normally find in most console or PC games, because the developers go out of their way to build that out of it. Because that kind of stuff in the games that we typically play on consoles and PCs, if they had that in it, it would be considered trash garbage and they would never play it.
There we go. That's the word I've been looking for. The one thing missing from
trash
mobile
garbage?
games. Balance. Yeah. There's no balance in most mobile games.
It's tough to say because there's balance there to a certain degree, but there's a lot of mobile games that, and this argument doesn't really help my side. Until you hit the point where they want you
to start paying money.
Yes, it's and it's the pay to win stuff that kind of sucks. But pay to win, it's something that's just been in mobile games, and it was transitioned into it so smoothly that it wasn't noticed. And then because it began to be noticed, that's why they weren't able to transition it as nicely into PC gaming, which they have been, or console games, which they tried, and it just got shut down.
Ubisoft, EA.
But because it's considered a norm for mobile games, and that's the only reason why it's accepted and put into it.
So here's a good thought to have, Spen. I'd like you to try to convince me.
Okay.
After I explain this, how mobile gamers are still gamers.
After he explains it, let him talk.
Yeah, no, I'm I'm still working through their thoughts. So if you talk to anybody who exclusively only plays mobile games, you ask them, why do you play that game? Now, I've asked plenty of people this. Why do you play Candy Crush? Why do you play Farmville? Why do you play any of those games? The same answer is, it's a time waster.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of those people would ever call themselves or consider themselves a gamer.
No, I agree.
So who are we as actual gamers to say they are gamers if they don't call themselves a gamer as well?
All right, I think that's a good argument, and it's a tough one because
I'm not sure if that's a gatekeeping move or not.
What I may consider gaming, other people may not. And what sucks is what we use as the word gaming is very subjective to what people believe. Where I think a great example, I love using sports analogies for this stuff, where you can have that's a really good one, Zeo.
You're gonna have to edit out this awkward silence.
That's okay.
I'll leave it in so people know he's stumped.
No, I am stumped a little bit. I'm trying to figure out how to word it, because the way that I want to answer this, basically the way I answer it's almost as like I'm null and voiding this entire podcast.
Well, let's hear it.
Yeah,
because
we'll pick it apart.
Okay, so it comes down to the question of really what is a gamer, and what's tough about that is what is a gamer is going to be different to a whole bunch of different people. So what I consider to be gaming, other people may not, and vice versa. So in this situation, they may not see themselves as being a gamer, but if someone like my mom played tons and tons and tons of Farmville, she never considered herself a gamer, nor would she, but I would consider her a gamer during those times because of the dedication, the hard work, the effort she was putting into it, and she loved playing Farmville, and I think that's what made her a gamer for Farmville.
See, now you're just forcing labels on people, and that is wrong.
See, but that's the entire thing that we're doing here, is we're forcing the label of a gamer, or forcing the removal of the role of gamer from someone just because they play mobile games or not.
Wait, I thought the original point of this was exploring whether mobile games counted or were worthwhile to the gaming community. How do we get to this?
It's not. No, it wasn't that they were worthwhile. I've got it written up here. It was why do PC and console gamers think mobile gamers aren't gamers?
Okay.
So I mean, we're still kind of off topic a little bit.
We kind of explored that a little bit with stating that they look down at it because of the accomplishments, and mobile gaming isn't as extravagant or as high caliber as you put into a console game or a PC game.
But I mean, I kind of bringing it back to a little bit of what you said, Zeo. I as well agree with you and guarantee that if we talked to at least 95% of the people that solely play mobile games, but we're like, are you a gamer? They'd probably say no. But we can't rule out that because most of them wouldn't consider themselves gamers or be gamers, that we can't say that just because you play mobile games, you aren't a gamer.
That is a fair point. But if you play only mobile games, does that make you a gamer?
I think it could. I think you definitely could be a gamer just by playing mobile games. It'd be the same thing as saying,
but you're still a filthy casual.
Let me ask you this then. If I were to stop playing video games today and I only played board games, would I be considered a gamer?
You'd be a tabletop gamer.
But I'm still a gamer, right? So then why can't we have a mobile gamer? Why is it just they play mobile games?
I think that's fair, actually.
No, I'm with you. I definitely, I mean, they could be a mobile gamer, but then...
I still say the games that have no definite goal or objective don't really count as games.
And that's totally fair. Like, you are more than welcome to have that opinion. But there are other people that will have the opinion of the opposite, and I don't think we can take away the title of gamer from them just because we feel differently.
Sure, but I mean, it's like the difference between reading novels and reading magazines. You know, one has a set structure with an ending that you're working towards, and the other is just fluff.
Yeah, but you're still a reader. So
let me ask you this then, Spen.
Yes.
That's a good point.
If I strictly listen to audiobooks, would I be considered a reader?
Well, that's different, though, because you're not reading something, you're listening.
But you're taking in the knowledge from the book.
Mm-hmm. But you're not physically reading.
Then? Why can't I can't I be a reader if I consume the book just like you did?
See, but a mobile
I put in
game
my
is
time
still...
and effort into this book. I took in the story. I got with the characters. Why am I not a reader? Because I listened to it as opposed to physically reading it.
Because you didn't read it. Now, you would be a consumer.
You would 100% be a consumer of that book, and
why can't they be
novels.
an enthusiast of that game and not a gamer?
I'm not saying they can't be. I'm just saying we can't say that they're not.
But you just told me I'm not a reader because I didn't read the book physically, even though I listened.
I see where you're going with that, and it's almost a valid argument, in my opinion.
I would consider somebody who listened to an audiobook, if they listen to 1,000 audiobooks compared to your 500 books, I would consider them an avid reader.
Okay, and the reason why I would disagree with that is
Tol's
because they're not
so mad. I saw that face right there.
No, I'm thinking. That's my thinking face.
Oh, okay.
What's tough is
mad for me. Mad for me takes the eyebrows.
But what's tough is, for me, is they're not physically reading the book. Whereas with a PC game or a console game versus a mobile game, you're physically interacting with the game. Like it's on your phone. You have to launch it. You have to physically interact with it.
A lot of those games you can just reap the rewards without much interaction.
No, it's true, and that's a genre of its own, where it's an idle game or an idle clicker.
And that's
but
like
it's still
everything
something
I see advertisements for these days.
But that's still something you physically have to launch and start up. Unless, don't bring in the argument, hey Bigsby, launch this game. Like the voice commands or whatever it is. But it's still a game on your phone. That you've got to go and download it or whatever. Maybe it already comes downloaded. That's not what's important. What's important is it's still a game on your phone that you can. Here, I'll put it this way: a mobile game, even like an idle game, you may not have to do anything with it or interact with it, but you still have the option to physically interact with the game, and that's part of it. Part of what makes it a game. Whereas with the audiobooks, With audiobooks, you get a physical copy of the book that you can physically turn pages on your screen to read along with. And then you're reading, because you're reading along with it.
What if you, like with Google Books, you can have Google read the book to you and it will be ready to flip the page, but it won't start reading until you flip the page. So what if you just listened page by page and then you tactile, physically flip the page in that book?
Well, it's tough though, because are you physically reading the words, or are you just touching the screen to go to the next part?
Touching the screen to go to the next part.
Okay, let's take this to another level.
You're interacting.
You're interacting, but what's tough is there's already a set definition of what reading is versus what listening is.
Now, let's take this to another level. Let's say there's someone who is an avid reader. They identify themselves. A key aspect of their personality is how much they read, how much they consume from the written word.
Yes.
Now, say this person gets in an accident and loses their eyesight.
Mm-hmm.
And that person still wants to consume the contents of books, because that is such a key core concept of their personality. But the only way they can do that is with audiobooks, only by listening. Are they no longer a reader?
Oh, that's tough. I would like to say they are, because that would be a terrible situation to be in.
If they wanted to read Tol, they could use Braille.
If they used Braille, then they would still be considered a reader. But if they're listening to it, they're consuming the book audibly. Audibly.
But how is that really much different, though, for you to say they can't consider themselves a reader? They are consuming the book just as you are.
No, not just as you are.
But what's tough is in this situation,
gamers aren't playing games just as we are in consoles. They don't have 16 buttons that they have to learn.
But Pac-Man had a joystick and a button. You didn't even have to really use the button.
Pac-Man requires tactile thought of hand and skills that mobile gaming doesn't have.
No, it doesn't have to. No, you're right.
Mobile gaming is like, oh, hey, this is charged, so I can do that. And now I have to wait 3 more hours, and I'll do it again. Put this away.
But what's tough is we still call it a mobile game. It's still a game that they're playing.
Well, see, that's just because any kind of interactive digital media that wasn't text, they classify it as game. And now the word is stuck. It's ingrained in our culture, so we can't really call it something else at this point. I don't think it fits.
So if someone plays we still consider it when someone goes to start up the app, are they still playing it? Or is it just idly sitting there and it's no longer considered playing it? Because I can tell you that I don't believe there's a single I'm probably wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's not a single mobile game where all it is you click it and you open it up and then it does everything ever for you, and there's no options or anything for you to be able to interact with it.
Oh, are you talking about 0-player games? Yeah, those are a thing.
0-player games?
0-player games are a thing. As a matter of fact.
So you launch it and then you never do anything with it.
Yep.
I mean, in a lot of those games, you only have to launch them to collect your gold, and then you can ignore it for 5 hours.
Some of them you just run in the background, and it progresses, and you check in. It's like, oh, hey, that's cool. That did a thing. And then you move on.
Here's what's tough, though, is there's a really dumb game that everybody's playing, but the second you think about it, you lose the game.
Congratulations, listeners. Spen just trolled us all.
So is that not a game because we don't interact or do anything with it? Or is the interaction that we lose the game so we state that we lose the game? So then you could argue that the mobile game, even though you don't do anything in the game, the act of playing the game is launching the game. And that in itself is still an act of doing something that makes it a game.
See,
there you go, Click-Apocalypse. Oh, wait, no, not Click-Apocalypse. No,
we've taken a dark rabbit hole down into this location where there's no hopes of getting out.
Well, it's just, again, it just kind of comes down to it, because, like, obviously our differing point of view is back to the audiobook thing. I consider if you listen to audiobook reading. You don't, obviously.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself, but if someone else wants to consider themselves a reader because of the audiobooks, I'm not going to stop them. I'm not going to say, no, you can't.
I mean, if I listen to an audiobook, I don't say I read it. I say I listened to it, but I still consider it. If somebody
wants to run down the street and call themselves a dog, I'm not going to stop them either. They can
that is
call themselves a dog if they want.
Leap. What kind of gymnastics you have to do to get there?
It doesn't make them a dog, right? Like the thing is you can call yourself whatever you want. You can say you're a part of this category as much as you want. I'll let you believe that, but that doesn't mean it's true.
See, what makes it tough for me is the arguments that you're using back against this now.
I don't know what kind of mental gymnastics you had to go through to get what you just did.
And not saying they're not valid arguments, because there's some validity, it's probably not a real word in it, but it's gotten to the point where you're using very weird and strange ones. So...
Well, they work. They make sense.
Yeah, they do. But
I'm gonna go back to what I was trying to say when you were doing those weird mental gymnastics there, and try and make this point. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. I have never been able to sit down and read by myself. I just can't get into it. But I used to have a job that had me go on long road trips, and I thought I would like to, consume this story, experience this story, and so I found audiobooks of it, read by someone who did a really good job. Don't remember the name. It was a really old version of it, but it got me through the entire story. And I finally was able to experience the story as written, just in a different format. Now, I don't consider myself as having read The Lord of the Rings. I have not read it. I listened to it, but I have that book in my head the same way as anyone who might have read it. So
that's part of the story, Tol.
The point is, it doesn't make it any less valid.
No, like there's no validity, probably not a real word, in any of that. Like it doesn't remove it from being any more valid.
The knowledge contained in the pages still makes it into your brain.
I think the audiobook and the reading thing would be the same, could be under the same kind of argument where they recreated the books into movies, and I've watched the movies. Does that now mean I can state that I've read the book?
I disagree entirely, because the movie is an adaptation. It is not a recreation. So,
but if they recreated it word for word,
even a recreation, can I say still no? Because it's the reading an audiobook. Every word in the book is being read to you. You're just not doing the reading.
Let's say that if someone took the audiobook and just put an enactment of the movie behind it, so we still got all the words out, and I watched it on TV, I could say I read the book.
Sure.
Interesting. Yeah. It's a very...
Or at least, at the very least, you could say you experienced the book.
I would say you read the book.
Interesting.
I don't think there's a defining difference between reading and audiobooks.
Now, what about graphic audio? There's a company called Graphic Audio that basically makes stories with cinematic sound effects and performances.
Well, that's not reading then.
See, what's tough is
the thing about
reading
that. The specific trilogy I'm talking about is Mistborn, which if any of you have read is fantastic. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. Listeners, go get it now. Move along. But listen to the rest of this first. Anyway, the books are fantastic, but I couldn't get my wife to read them. They were so thick, they were daunting to her. So I looked for audiobooks for it, and all they had was graphic audio, which is a faithful recreation of the books, but without all the boring explanations of what's happening. Then she said this and they did this. It gives you sound effects to give you the experience of the book without saying every single word. Is that not?
No. That's not reading.
So even though it faithfully recreates
that's just a faithful adaptation.
Well, Zeo, I only have one more. I only have one more argument against the audiobook and mobile not being a real gamer thing. And it's that if you want to consider yourself to having read the book, even though you listen to it, I may not agree with you and probably never will. But if you want to consider yourself a reader because of that, then I say go for it, all for you. Just the same as if someone plays mobile games and wants to consider themselves a real gamer, you may not 100% agree with them, but if they get to decide if they're a real gamer or not. So we can't say that that because you play mobile games, you aren't a real gamer.
So with that said, I mean, just because you say go for it doesn't mean I did read the book, and it doesn't mean I am a gamer because you're allowing me to do it. You're allowing me to believe in my delusions. Doesn't mean it's the fact. I mean, I think I'm a chicken too.
Your audiobook thing was a whole delusion here, is what you're telling me.
No, I'm saying that.
He's saying that everyone's entitled to their opinion, even if you're wrong.
Yeah, you can have an opinion of it, but
you can't take away someone saying that they're a gamer just because you believe that what they're playing isn't a game. Because to them it is a game. There's some people that's, if I were to say, hey, I lost the game, some people can just decide, hey, I'm not playing that game. That's not a game. That's dumb.
But then everyone don't have to consider it. You're always playing the game. Everyone's playing the game. Yeah, you can't opt out of it. I know that because I use that argument.
That person doesn't have to consider it a game, but the other people can.
Okay.
It's just the same as you don't have to consider a mobile game a game, but that doesn't mean they can't consider themselves a gamer. Because what's tough is what I find to be a game, what you find to be a game, what Tol finds to be a game. We can all find different things to be games, but I don't think we can decide that someone isn't a gamer just because we don't believe what they're playing is a game.
Okay.
So it seems like our final conclusion here. What are the main points? Are mobile games actual games? Debatable. Are mobile gamers actual gamers? Debatable. Final results? Inconclusive.
See, it hurts me inside because to end like this, because I still strongly believe that mobile games, just because someone plays them, like a mobile game is still a game, and if you play it a bunch, you can. You're a gamer.
I think where the category draws the line, where we draw the line of mobile games and everything, is I think we're using the wrong terminology. I think saying mobile games is too broad, because a mobile game is technically anything you can just play on your phone. So
which
I think
these days is everything back to the Famicom.
Categorize going back into it, I wouldn't consider somebody who does a crossword puzzle a gamer.
It's still a game.
It is a game, and they enjoy that game. And they may do it
consider
as a
them
hobby.
A person who just likes crosswords, not a gamer, though. If you're an
avid crossword puzzler, you avidly play that game, and you could be an avid gamer.
Avid cross puzzler.
You would
consider
be
you
an
avid
player.
Gamer. I think gamer, like, it's hard to
more of a
categorize because
broad
gamers
term.
are so broad. Exactly what Tol just said. It's too broad because we consume so many different types of games. That's what makes us a gamer.
Or
So
even
I think
one type of game, but a broad collection of that
I think
type.
it would even be fair to say, at least, maybe we can find common ground on this. If you exclusively play one game ever, you wouldn't be a gamer then. You would just be a fan of that game.
I could work on the phrasing a bit, but I get the idea you're going for, and I can agree with that.
I mean, even for me, if let's just use
It,
Final
like-
Fantasy VII as my example. If I only ever played Final Fantasy VII my entire life, I wouldn't be a gamer. I would just be in love with Final Fantasy VII.
People who only play Minecraft all the time, all day, every day, and don't want to touch any other game. They are not gamers, they are Minecrafters.
I will agree with you in that, guys, in that sense that if you only play a single game and you only play that one game,
So,
Then
going
you're not a
back to
gamer.
mobile games, Candy Crush and Farmville are okay. They're not essentially
but if you play both Candy Crush and Farmville, that's you're consuming. You're not just consuming a game; you're consuming games, and that's what can make you. And then you can be a gamer.
So
Not saying
I
they
think
are a
it takes-
gamer. Not saying they aren't. I'm just saying they can be.
I think it takes that breadth, that wealth of experience, exploring different options besides just the one, going from one game to the next, and finding different experiences.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd agree with that because like Candy Crush and Farmville are different games, but there are a lot of games just like Farmville. So what if you played Farmville and then a game called PewDiePie Tube? What, that tuber game?
Yeah,
Tube Simulator.
PewDiePie's Tube Simulator.
It's basically Farmville, right?
It's
reskin
a lot
them.
like it.
So
Okay.
if those are the exact same style games, would you still consider them a gamer because they are the exact same formula? What if I only played NBA from NBA 98 to NBA 2K19? I wouldn't be a gamer. I would just be an NBA.
Why can't you
fan.
be a gamer?
You might be an NBA gamer, a sports gamer. You'd be a gamer.
It'd be like the same as if I played only Call of Duty and Modern Warfare. I'm still a gamer.
Every update has new mechanics, new maps, new things to explore, new ways to discover,
But
to interact.
even if they didn't, even if we went back to the original Call of Duty and the original Modern Warfare, if I only played those, which sounds funny saying original Modern Warfare, because whatever. If I only played those two, I could still be a gamer because I game those, I play them, and
But wouldn't you just be a only Call of Duty fan? And not
but I'm
just-
playing Call of Duty and Modern Warfare.
They're both Call of Duty games, though.
No,
Yes,
Call of
they are.
Duty Modern Warfare is Call of Duty.
It's
I
called
guess it
Call of
is.
Duty Modern Warfare.
Well, what another shooter.
But you don't play other shooters. You only play Call of Duty.
That wasn't my example. That wasn't what
was
my
your
example
example.
intended to. No, I intended to be like this X shooter game from Company A and this Y game from Company C, and they're both shooters. As long as I'm playing the two different games, you could be considered a gamer. Like
Okay.
Call of Duty and Borderlands. As long as I play Call of Duty and Borderlands, I'm considered a gamer.
Those are
am I not?
different. Those are different genres. I wouldn't consider.
They're both shooters, but
Borderlands-
Borderlands does have RPG elements,
Okay.
which gives you a breadth of experience.
Okay, how about Stellaris and Sins of a Solar Empire? They're both space management strategy games.
Okay. Well, I think I think it's hard because gamer's too broad to really put into a.
But I
category.
think that's what makes it so awesome is that it is
I agree
broad.
with you. I think it is awesome. And
Anybody can be a gamer.
I will say after
Even the
today's
mobiles.
discussion, I would lean more into your point of view, Spen, but it doesn't change my disdain for most mobile games.
See, but what's tough is your disdain comes from a deep down hatred that you've built towards it because it's destroyed phones and your mom's phone more than once.
And aren't we all just the sum of our experiences? So that's the Son of a
Yeah.
Geek podcast.
You don't get to end the podcast.
It's tough. It's tough because we've already started kind of just going over the same points, but with different things. I don't think we'll ever come to a conclusion that any of us, like, I'm not happy with the conclusion that we've gotten to, but I think I'm happy with that we're never going to get any closer than to what we've gotten with right now.
It's like Game of Thrones.
You what?
I said it's like Game of Thrones.
Sure, I don't want to know how. We're already past an hour, so...
All right,
Well,
what do you guys think down below? Comment. Do you think mobile gamers should be considered part of the gaming community, or do you think they should be outcasted into their own land, just like lepers?
Wow.
I think really the question should
That's
be...
how we treat them.
Do you... It's true.
Maybe how y'all treat them. I just don't think highly of them.
That's
Same
almost
thing.
the same thing.
Tomato, potato.
I don't think very highly of some people in
Just
My
just
family
because a
does.
leper...
You looked over towards me in the camera's feeds. You glanced my way
Just
when you said
because a
that,
leper
Tol.
walked past you 100 yards away, you don't think highly of them. Doesn't mean you don't like them. You'd still discriminate against them. You don't want
I
to go
think-
near them. You don't want to consider them a part of your town anymore,
You're
right?
assuming a lot about my motivations.
I think the real question that everybody
with a
should
leper and
be
tell me then.
posting comments about down below is, do you think that it's okay for us to decide what someone else is allowed to call themselves based on our own experiences and not theirs?
I think I know an entire community of people who have been struggling with that for a very long time.
I think that was a very dangerous way to label a Spen to get the answers in your favor.
Actually, several communities, as a matter of fact.
But that pretty much wraps up our show.
Actually, I have a better
no.
thing. What
Oh,
would we
good.
consider the criteria of being a gamer, and where do we draw that line so we can say people aren't gamers?
Can we even draw a line? I just wanted to feel like I was a part of your question.
It
That's pretty
sounds
much-
all significant, but really it's just he wants to be heard.
Yeah, that pretty much wraps up our show. Thanks for listening in, and we hope to catch you next time. But wait, before you go, how about some quick, fun, shameless self-promotions? We just released our Season 1 finale of Next to Nothing, where our characters Tom, Preck, and Ness tried to escape off a deserted planet. It's full of awesome cactus jokes and other weird shenanigans as the three intrepid heroes adventure on through sand and more
Rocks
and occasional
space pineapples.
Maybe
actors
space.
slash dead bodies, and yes, space pineapples. But definitely you should check it out. It's pretty awesome. We've also got our weekly Fortnite Game Night series where we basically play some of the best community made creative maps to prove who's best, and I usually win. Yep.
He's won about 40% of the time.
No.
I won
I mean,
one,
you-
except Spen cheated.
No,
I
Tol
don't
didn't
know.
win at the
Tol-
game, so I
Tol
won.
didn't win at all. Let's not like over exaggerate here.
No.
You guys
Thanks for
may
watching,
disagree, but we all
everybody.
know the truth.
Yes, that I am the true king.
No.
Yes.
Spoons.